If you'd like to contact the show, send us an email at liveonfourlegspodcast@gmail.com or get involved in the conversation on social media. Join the Pearl Jam Podcast community group on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at liveonfourlegspod.
Not only are we happy to be ending this long year, which at times it got a little rough and it felt like we were dying, but now it feels like we're here and we've died and gone to heaven. And already you're being very active and loud out there, and it makes us, we can feel it up here, and we appreciate it because we're going home. And away we go.
You're listening to Live on Four Legs, the live Pearl Jam podcast experience, featuring
Mr. Stone Gossard. Gentlemen. Mama Creed. Matt fucking Cameron in the drum. Mr. Boom Gaspar. You can call me Al, you can call me Ed, you just fucking call me, why don't you?
Hey everybody now, welcome to Live on Four Legs, the definitive live Pearl Jam podcast, and we're back with another episode like we do every single Wednesday. It's become somewhat of a tradition that we've been doing for about 2.5 years, and keep that word in mind because tradition will be something that will come back in just a second. But today we're doing Hawaii 2006, and this is a very important show for the grand scheme of things. And this is basically going to be a Boom Gaspar appreciation day. So if you are a Boom fan, there will be lots of Boom love. There will be lots of Boom talk. He doesn't get enough of it. So today is your day, Mr. Boom Gaspar. Let's just get right into it. Randy Sobel over here, John Farrar over there, and I use that word, tradition. So we're going to go back to the beginning where we all started on this show. We're going to add in the old co-host from the good old days back when this show was 3 hours long and, repetitive and all those good things. This is Matt Helbig. Matt Helbig is back on the show, everybody.
Hey, yeah. Oh, yeah, the long stretch before we knew what it was to condense and consolidate talking points where we just talked about everything that came to mind. But,
here's my question, because you haven't been on since I think last summer. We did Wrigley with you last summer, and you did
now
a couple episodes here and there.
I'm putting my Patreon donation to good use here, and I think it was I don't remember what we had done, but I text you and I said I really want to do an episode soon because I knew I was doing the draft with you coming up, and I was like, yeah, let's. I haven't listened to a bootleg in a long time, so I really wanted to.
The desire came back. See, this is
it did.
When I don't egg you on, this is when you come back and this is when you participate, and that's a good thing.
Well, and as I mentioned too, I've been listening to the episode every week, since. So after a while, it's just like, do I have a time in this week or next week or whatever? So when you gave me the date, I made sure it was clear and we were good to go.
Old podcast co-host still listens to podcasts that he was on. Does it feel like
I feel judged. He's just judging me.
No way. It's so
You're
good.
judging me every week. That's how I feel.
I told you on the draft episode that the podcast is every week it gets better and better. So no, it's fantastic.
Well, I appreciate that. We appreciate that. I have no idea. I haven't polled the listeners or anything like that, but how many listeners do you think still remember you from back then? Because we just have this new crop of people that I don't think have gone back to the very, very early stuff. And by the time that John jumped in, it's episode like 42 that we're talking here. So this is 121. So there's a lot that has gone on since.
Yeah, I'd say Bagel. and
There's a few.
And John.
Wow. You and John have essentially switched roles.
And my brother, yeah.
Anyway, we're here to talk Hawaii today, and Pearl Jam has such a rich history with the state. And obviously, Ed has this attachment to Hawaii because he's a massive surfer. So once it came time to, hey, look, he needs to go on vacation. He needs to kind of mellow out and kind of get his head in a different place and kind of forget about Pearl Jam. This is his escape. And it seems like a lot of quarantine, he spent time in Hawaii, and he spent time there with his wife and kids. So he's no stranger. That's basically his home away from home. And, these shows are very special and very important to him, it seems. And let's tell the story. John, you love telling the story, so I'm just going to hand it off to you here. How did this all come about? Ed meeting Boom and then forming this relationship with him that would later form Boom joining the band.
Well, yeah, you mentioned Hawaii. I think the story was a couple of months ago. There was somebody was randomly playing ukulele at a bar in like Hawaii.
That was only like a couple weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah. And Ed jumped on stage and sang Hawaii 78 with him, which we're going to talk about today. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the story is, Ed was, I think he has a little cabin in Hawaii. And yeah, he had just gone out, see a band play. Band had a keyboard player that was really good. Went up and talked to him like, hey, I'm in this band. Like we've been looking for someone to play kind of keyboards, piano, and tour with us. And Boom, of course, had no idea who Pearl Jam was, which is just one of the classic like band stories. He had no idea that he was joining one of the classic, great American rock bands. And yeah, just joined up, and it was like they've got this old guy playing keyboards now, and it's good, and he just kind of became a crowd favorite from the beginning. It's just like, the name. How can you go wrong with a name like Boom? It just leads to those crowds and the boom. Everybody knows it.
My favorite.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Yeah, my second favorite story, because that's obviously the story, but my second favorite Boom story is after the Philadelphia 2003 show. They, in I guess like the Philadelphia Times, whatever their newspaper is, I'm unsure, but they wrote a review and said Pearl Jam fans know what they like and they don't like keyboard, because they thought that he was getting booed.
That's right.
They had no idea what his name was, and probably with a quick Google search or whatever, they saw that his name was Kenneth Gaspar and had no idea that he was Boom, because there probably wasn't that much information about him at the time, aside from him just being on stage with the band. But more love to him, because he's a very important band member, and at this time in 2006, he's not involved on every song. He's kind of in and out a little bit, and it feels like now he really is kind of in the set almost every single song. And I'll ask you, Matt, what do you take of Boom's role in the band?
Well, it's funny. Okay, so just to go back, and it was this guy who had no idea who they even were, and he's like, yeah, I'll join, and now he's kind of one of those guys that becomes like, he's not like your favorite member because he's not like a Stone or a Mike or something like that. But when he comes out, he is your favorite member.
He's so lovable.
Everyone wants to see him, and because he's always got a smile on his face. But that I think also maybe was a good thing, because he was kind of bringing like no bad habits into the group. It's not like, oh yeah, I'm joining up with Pearl Jam. I'm going to go on tour with them. It's like, I don't know these guys. I'll learn the songs. I'll write with them. And it was like, it was like starting fresh in a brand new band. that has worldwide, notoriety. And he didn't have to worry about that. He was just this guy. So
That's a good point. Yeah, he wasn't like some rock and roll guy.
Right.
Had,
Yeah.
like,
Never
drug
toured with
problems
anybody
and
else.
All that, some kind of history. Yeah.
Right. It's not like these bands that are just, listen, I love a good supergroup, but Randy and I laugh. I laugh about it. I don't know if Randy agrees with me, but I always say like, I always say like, Les Claypool ruins everything. So it's like you got these great songs with Lennon, and then Claypool comes in and he starts singing about like his pet turtle, and it always ruins the song. It's terrible. And then it's like Boom is this guy playing in a bar, has no idea who Eddie is, and it's probably like a genuine friendship right there. It's not like I'm just like. Why wouldn't I do this? You guys tour constantly, and you make a ton of money, and everyone knows you, and your heads and hearts are in the right places, and you're going to be making music for years and years and years. This is a great deal. I don't know. It comes off to me. He was just like, let's see what this is about. And now he's a fan
Another
favorite.
life journey.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have been in the room when Ed proposed this to the rest of the band. Like, guys, found this guy in Hawaii. He plays keyboards. He's going to come on tour with us. And then he walks out with, like, the beard and the hair, and he's, like, 60 years old. And they're like, okay.
I can see somebody like Jeff saying, that's our guy. That's our guy right there.
I was going to say, I could see Jeff saying something like, has he ever heard of us? As a joke, and then Eddie's like, no, and then have someone like Jeff say, he's in. Like, that's.
It's funny that you guys mentioned this because there's actually a video somewhere. It's like this bad stop motion type video or really bad graphics, and I stumbled upon it one day. I don't know how, but it's basically that. It's basically a fan made a video about what Stone and Jeff and Mike's reaction and Matt would be to Boom joining the band. I think it was mostly revolved around Stone because Stone was mad that, he wasn't the band leader anymore and all of that. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, because I wouldn't even know where to search for that, please email us, liveon4legspodcast@gmail.com, because it is pretty freaking funny. It was just a random fan-made thing, like really just bad animation. I think it was like one of those computer-generated voices that they had in the background. Like, it just, yeah, it's like Egghead level stuff. Nobody will get that really besides
funny.
us.
Yeah.
All fantastic points about Boom. He's tremendous, and look, he fit in perfectly. Like, at first he wasn't doing a lot of songs. He was kind of doing his traditional songs and then adding little flourishes on songs like Better Man and other songs that deserved it. And now, like, I get upset really upset if I see a picture of the five of them and Boom's not involved. It's just...
Do you really?
Yeah, I kind of do. Because I consider him to be part of this.
He's a touring member. That's all he is.
Yes, and that's contractually, that's the reason why he's not in those photos. But, like, at least I know that he's in Hawaii and probably doesn't want to travel up to Seattle and go to the warehouse and go and record with them. But it would have been nice to see him involved on at least, like, one track of the last couple albums. You know what I'm saying?
I could see that, but I could also see him being like, and of course I don't want to speak for him. It's just, it's what you take from his character, and it might just be something like, Boom, do you want to do this? We got these things, do you want, there might not be much, but blah blah blah, and he just might be on the beach, just saying, nah, do your thing, guys. I'll catch you. He's
very happy-go-lucky and very go with the flow. Like, whatever you guys want to do, I'm here.
Listen, he was handed this, not that he's not deserving, because he's fantastic, and of course we're huge fans. So, yeah, I mean, he's an old dude. He's probably just like, whatever. Like, I'll be there when you need me. That's
all we ask of him. We don't really ask much more. And
I know, because when you see him,
terrific.
it's so special.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So let's transition here. Let's talk a little bit about their history in Hawaii, because they have played in Hawaii a total of 8 shows over 3 touring years. As we talked about before, Ed has the seasonal residence down there and found Boom and yada, yada, yada. Their first appearance was in 1992 after the Lollapalooza stuff and after dropping a park. So they played, I think, 3 shows down there, and there's no bootleg from one of them, but there is footage of, I guess, a sound check somewhere. And I'm going to bring up something from that later because it's very interesting, tying into the end of the show. And I'm wondering if that was a callback to that sound check. But one of the shows that they played in Maui, they kind of did the first improv of Hard to Imagine. That was the first appearance. After that whole entire summer, you'll listen to Pink Pop, you'll listen to all of the bootlegs that we have available to us from Lollapalooza. You hear Mike in the background just going, and it turns into something. It's not anywhere close to the regular lyrics. It's the same pattern, it's the same song progression, but that's like the beginning of Hard to Imagine. Very, very cool moment. 1998, the Yield Tour gets its kickoff in Hawaii, and songs like Faithful and MFC made their live debuts there. I guess I would consider In Hiding made its live debut there too, because In Hiding was really debuted on Self Pollution. So yeah, it's a debut in front of a real crowd. So
yeah, like a tour debut, I guess.
Right. So yeah, in front of the non-radio audience. So those are kind of important facets too. Obviously, Jack's last stint in the band. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. And then we get into this year, into 2006. And 2 nights before this show, nothing was planned, but they played a surprise appearance at the Waimea Quicksilver Big Wave surfing competition. And about 250 fans were in attendance. Kelly Slater joined the band for, I think, Rockin' in the Free World and Indifference. So, that's the celebrity aspect of it. And if you watch Ed at this show, he's wearing a Slater shirt the whole entire time. It's for Kelly Slater, not Slater Kinney. He obviously has a good relationship with him, and that's been talked about before. And it ended after this show. A couple nights later is the U2 Vertigo tour, and they opened for U2. So a little callback to a couple Italian shows in '93 where they opened up for U2, and it was not the Zooropa tour, I believe, and it did not go very well. They were not received well by the Italian crowd, and I would think that this show would have had a better response. So that is your Hawaii history with Pearl Jam. Does anybody have anything to add to that?
No, it was nice hearing him talk to the crowd about it, though. And as we get into the set, which is why we're here, is it like a hey, we're back, this is what you've been waiting for set, or is it?
I think it's a lot of things.
I think it's a lot of things too. I think it's yeah.
I think first and foremost, it's an end of tour set.
It's an end of tour set, but also it's like, let's take advantage and let's do like let's do a set that we know almost safe, like that everyone's gonna love. But of course, these are going to be talking points once we get into it.
Yeah, but it's not easy for bands to go tour in Hawaii. Like, you've obviously got to fly everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
it's a big pain in the ass, I'm sure. So, and that's why you do 2 or 3 shows every time you're there to make it worth it. But in '92, that was kind of the end of that whole year of touring. It was like a big celebration. I think the story is they filmed the Oceans video.
Yep.
One of those days, and you can see like they're having a lot of fun. They're just surfing, just hanging out. And '98, you start it there, and then here you're ending. And I think it might have even been a week that between this show and the U2 show. So they were just hanging out, surfing, doing their thing. Like they did this on purpose to just kind of like have a chance to hang out and have it be kind of a destination that they can think about when you're huffing it through the Midwest. You got like, oh, we've got Hawaii at the end. We got something to look forward to,
For sure.
Are you surprised that they haven't returned? And based on what you said and how difficult it is to get down there, it makes sense. But with the connection that Ed has, the connection with Boom, and just other things surrounding, the state being what it is, and it being a destination for a lot of fans, although very expensive. Are you surprised that they haven't been back there in 15 years?
No, I'm not surprised.
Wow.
But they tend to do that as a band. Sometimes they'll just maybe they just forget.
I don't think they would have forgotten.
No, it's I mean just like, certain areas of the world is just completely forgotten about sometimes.
Right.
But
it might be too. I don't think he needs an excuse to go there anymore. I think he's got the house there and everything. I'm sure they spend a bunch of time there. He doesn't need to go there to spend time there.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he's done solo shows there too. So
there's there's a lot of planning with tours and around everyone else's schedule, and maybe sometimes these places. Maybe the payoff isn't there to if they only have 2 nights to spare for a show during a U.S. tour, and they know they have to end here, they have to start here. Places like that are Australia, Hawaii.
Right.
It's a hike.
If the Gigaton tour is going to start in Australia, then you never know.
Yep. Take a pit stop for sure.
Take the chance, go out there and do a bunch of them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I would hope that they would want to tour, and I think that they're hungry for it. I think they're ready for it, but we have no idea. So we will jump into this show right now, and we're going to start off hot. John, you mentioned it before. In 1992, they filmed the video for Oceans, and here we start off the show the same exact way we started off with Oceans.
To the grave. The currents will share, glide me towards you. No, something's left, and we're all alive to dream of the names. The next time we
appropriate that we kick it off with their anthem for loving the beach and loving surfing and their love for the ocean. And Matt, you hate all of it, so I'll just talk to John about this and how appropriate is this for them to start the show this way.
Oh, it's fantastic. I think we should make this the appreciation song just to spite Matt.
Well, I mean, we had 2 the other week, so I guess we can have another one later.
I don't appreciate that. No, I understand it's appropriate, but it's just so boring. It's just the most boring song in their catalog. So I gotta do a pass on that.
Disagree.
Yeah, it's a big thumbs down. It just, you can tell the cameraman is smart to start this off. He has some shots on Boom, and he's getting Boom's reaction. And I don't think Boom performed the night before, because the PJ20 book said that this was his first show in Hawaii. So I don't know what happened with that, but this was his debut in their hometown. Maybe it was one of those things where the band wanted to keep him here for this show and make it special for him for this, and maybe it was just that. So, you can tell that this is kind of like a dream come true, and he's definitely emotional for this, and it is fun watching him, not just for this song, but the whole entire show. Let's kick it into gear here. After Oceans, they head into a 3-headed monster. No avocado songs. That was kind of the trend in 2006. They would go opener right into some Severed Hand and Worldwide Suicide and Life Wasted kind of songs. It doesn't happen here. They give you the traditional ones, Corduroy, Animal Evolution. And I'm wondering about the crowd very early on, because it seemed like they needed a little bit of encouragement from Ed during Corduroy, and Ed gives them so much love and so much appreciation this whole entire show, but it seemed like at first he's trying to make a connection with them.
I could somewhat agree to that, and I could bring that back later on in the set with something that I noticed that was very close to that. But I like that they don't go right into avocado songs here. I think where an avocado song comes in for a new song, I think is way more appropriate and hits way better.
Yeah, really good. Ed's really into corduroy, especially the end. He's doing all the emotes and everything, the jumping around. So, like you said, Randy, he's probably trying to get the crowd into it, trying to kind of jumpstart them a little bit. And they do take it on Animal. He points the mic out, lets them take it and sing. So that's a cool moment. But again, every time we talk about the beginning of these sets where the album's spacing out, we got 10, Vitalogy versus Yield. They're giving you a taste of all those 90s albums straight from the beginning.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that goes to what Matt said before, kind of keeping it simple and getting the songs that are just the hits, just get them out of the way. People can get into them. People can sing along with Corduroy. They can sing along with Animal like they did. Stone during Evolution was awesome. He gets the little spotlight on him, and he's wearing a lei the whole time. I feel like this is...
Oh, yeah, Stone got laid. I forgot.
That's right.
Thank you for reminding me.
Well, we don't see him get laid.
We did not.
He is wearing
that.
Right.
Oh, Randy, that reminded me. I would have gone the whole time without mentioning that he was laid for the whole show.
No. Of course. Well, I have extension onto that because that... to me is one of Stone's signature looks when you go down the line of like the evolution of Stone's wardrobe over the years, with the
and that's the fun thing is that this is 2006. They've come a long way since the orange hats and whatever he was,
exactly.
The big sweaters with shorts and all that. And even the album is just, Binaural is different. Avocado is different. Riot Act is different. Like, they're really changing. But Stone will still do a Stone thing every now and then. And he'll...
10-gallon cowboy hat.
Right, and even if it's something small, like wearing a lei for the whole show, it's classic Stone, and it's fantastic.
Absolutely.
He's a weird dude.
He's a weird dude.
But we love him.
We love him to death.
We love him to death. And and we wouldn't be here without him, for sure. All right, let's transition into some avocado songs like we mentioned before. This is normally, when you think 2006 and you think of, coming off an opener, they go right into the Worldwide Suicides and Severed Hands of the World, this little section here. That's exactly that. Worldwide Suicide, Severed Hand, and Given a Fly. And I feel like the whole entire show, there are 7 avocado songs that are played, but they're all spread out pretty nicely. And even at the end, like, we can talk about it when it comes up at the end, but it's very interesting the way they do it. They kind of bookend with avocado, especially this being the last night on the tour. It was an interesting idea to do that. It's been a while since we've talked about Worldwide Suicide. It's never been a top dog on this show, so to speak. Severed Hand is a little bit more favorable, actually much more favorable. But Given Fly here gets a little bit of a lyric change. Made it to the islands, had a smoke in a tree. So what'd you guys think about this?
This is great. Worldwide Suicide, this is so much better doing it here, especially with Severed Hand right after, because you got the crowd going. This one hits really hard. I love it not in the first or second spot. I think this is so much better here. Warm them up and then hit them with like these great new singles. Hey, a lot of people might not like Avocado at that time, or they're not as familiar with it. Who knows? Like, don't jump right into it. Do it this way because it's so much better, and it just has much more of an effect. And Severed Hand, I thought, was super tight. Super happy to hear that finally come up.
Great jam at the end of that song.
It was dead on. It was dead on. And Given a Fly, by this time they're in a groove, and it's paced and it's flowing.
Worldwide Suicide, the most boring song in the catalog.
No, oh my God, not even
Doesn't
close.
Go anywhere. There's a reason they haven't played it since 2014. Too wordy. Just, it's not angry enough for what it should be.
I don't know. I think this version got a little angry.
Yeah, not enough.
They sounded pretty good.
Yeah, I don't like it. It reminds me of kind of like the worst songs on Gigaton, where it just meanders for too long, and it just doesn't do anything for me. Boring. Sorry.
Wow.
He's not talking about buckle up, really.
I hope not.
I like buckle.
We are pro buckle up on this show. We've talked
we
about
are pro
that.
buckle up.
Let's segue in. We get a little bit of the interaction from Ed. He says, cheers and good evening. Welcome to Pearl Jam's last show of the tour. And a little dad joke. We appreciate you coming. I know it's been a long time. The last time we were starting off the Yield Tour, we mentioned that before. Not only are we happy to be ending this long year because at times it got rough and it felt like we were dying, but tonight it feels like we've died and gone to heaven. That is a quote to take from this show. Already you're being active and loud, much appreciated, and probably one of the bigger events that took place here around 5 years ago. I met a tremendous human being who's been a part of our lives ever since. He's been in our band. He's a great human being and a great Hawaiian, Mr. Kenneth Boom Gaspar.
We're going to play something about a week after Boom and I first met. His wife, Pinky, and Boom, they came over and we went upstairs and we wrote this song, and it's called, we'd like to play for you now. I think of Boom as the title of this song, and it's called Love Boat Captain.
This is the perfect song for Boom to do in his hometown, and not just that, but like this is a fantastic performance as well. Getting all the interaction at the end, they just keep going on. The great call and response, and Boom is just providing that backbone.
Love boat captain, take the reins. Steel restores the clear. I know it's already been sung. Can't be sunlight enough. Love is all you need. All you need is love, 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 love. Love, 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 love.
What if he never joined the band? They don't have this song, and how I think this song is sneaky important in their catalog. I really do. I think it's needed.
Yeah, or Eddie would have written it, and it would have been a lot different. It could have been a quiet acoustic type thing. It could have gone many different ways without that build up in the beginning. Yeah, this this should have been the opener, but you need that kind of you need that build up for Boom, like in the speech, you know. So and listen, I'll take it anywhere. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, you got to let the show begin. So it's kind of, we're still early in the night. We've got a long way to go, and this little section here is great.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of kicks you off into the middle part of the set, and Love Boat Captain into Wish List is a very good transition. Wish List into Even Flow is a very good transition, and I want to talk a little bit about Wish List transitioning into Even Flow because we get an extended outro from this with a little bit of Ed improving, and this was pretty common at the time. This comes up from time to time where Ed, and even in 98 and 2000 when the song would come up, he would sing about being the president.
I wish I was the president. I wouldn't have made the mistakes he did. I now believe his mistakes are crimes. 100,000 dead or dying. 2 dirty nickels, they still make a dime. If it were up to me, they'd all do time.
This is pretty important because the 2006 tour is basically a tour against the war in Iraq. There's not a night on this tour where they don't mention it, where they don't give a shout out to the troops, and they don't say something about, George W. Bush and just being rightfully pissed off about him. So I think this is a very fitting way to kind of end that part of 2006.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even 2006. They've been going on this for their whole career, but it was, it was like the focus of like the tour before it, and it's still around today, but Ed is more kind of dad jokey and kind of he kind of has the good vibes, but yeah, no, they still are definitely hitting hard with like their thoughts on everything. Maybe not as hard as the Riot Act time, but it's obvious. And Avocado, which is why it's such a good follow-up to Riot Act, because it's like, hey, this stuff is still important. Don't stop talking about it, because we're not going to stop talking about it. So,
but also add in that like love is important, and love is a thing.
Yeah, exactly. And it would
like and talk about loss and talk about Inside Job and things like that. And like they're adding in other elements that aren't just angry.
It's not just political. It's like human too, and families.
Yes.
And,
absolutely.
But that kind of, I think that came with age with Eddie. It's like I'm not gonna do the angst anymore. I'm gonna focus on like what is actually important instead of just like being pissed off all the time. It's good to be pissed off, but like educate at the same time, because he's got a huge ear, a huge audience. So
give Ed some credit here. He does a really nice solo on the EBow. Yeah. One of the best I've ever heard him do.
Yeah. Well, that's yes. When they get really spacey with it, the EBow. Mm-hmm. Which are like $14. If there's any guitar or bass players out there that just want to have some fun, grab an EBow, man. They're great.
No EBow on McCready's guitar here. He goes behind the back. We get the Hendrix-inspired solo, and it is just ripping fast, incredibly fast, and really 2006. 2003 was the coming out party of McCready, but 2006 is McCready the showman, and he's doing all of it here. But also 2006 is the year of the Matt Cameron. It's his drum solo, and we talk about it whenever we get to Even Flows from this year. The extended solo, you get about a minute of this, and man, you just look in his face, and he's feeling it. And you can tell at this point, everybody's in a really good groove.
So happy when that solo came up. I was like, oh, this is going on for a little while. Mike is kind of like, he's like trailing a little bit here, but I don't feel like they're gonna stop, and I don't feel like they're gonna go back into the chorus. I was like, I think we're getting a Cameron drum solo, and it was
you can kind of tell when
there's a definite tee up. Yes, exactly. I thought this Even Flow kind of came out of nowhere. I went into this, I didn't look at the set before except for one song that I knew was going to be coming up. And it's like properly placed, but they came out with this so hot. And really like a really cool kind of, like a mild cool down before this that is different with Wish List and Love Boat Captain. Really cool section here.
2006 Even Flow is one of my favorite years for it. It's such an important time in the evolution of the song because, people were kind of getting a little bored with it. McCready was kind of doing some similar things, and here comes this drum solo out of nowhere. and it really refreshed the song for a lot of people. I think it was important in the evolution of the song. If we ever get to do an evolution episode on it, that'll be a big part of it. Having Matt step in and just great, and it's something that they still throw in from time to time now to keep it fresh. So yeah, I think it's really good.
I think if we ever do an evolution episode, is replacing there's no bad version of Black or Rearview Mirror as the quote on the show. I mean, nothing beats MFC gnawing, but those are up there. Of course, after Even Flow, Ed has to pause, address McCready, says abusing his guitar night after night, Mike McCready, and then says we can't just call him Matt, we have to call him a sir or Mr., and he is a master. That's Matt Cameron on the drums, and all of us in this room should feel very fortunate tonight and glad we can share it. And that's a good transition. I think he knew, give Matt the props and get into a Matt Cameron song with You Are, and that's going to be sandwiched here. You Are, Unemployable, Jeremy, all packaged together, and really like the version of You Are here. I think this was kind of the highlight of this section. Mike and Jeff are just jamming together, which was fun to watch. I don't have much to say about Unemployable. It's not really a song we talk about, but again, I think it's like a tier below Worldwide Suicide level. But it's fine. It's okay. It gets overlooked for a reason, but it's because it just doesn't hit the right stroke as a live song. And then you get Jeremy, and then you're back to getting a hit after getting a couple of the deeper cuts out of the way. Jeremy kind of brings the crowd back into it. So this is nice packaged together. And the next part I especially love after this, the way that it's packaged.
Yeah, this is a point that I really wanted to get into with you guys, because this is so interesting to me. You Are, Unemployable, Jeremy, and then the two or three after that. So it's fucking awesome. I think it's so good. First of all, You Are sounds great. Everything about it, the effects, the music of it is dead on. Randy, I could kind of agree with you with Unemployable, but I also kind of disagree. It's catchy, but it's weird. It's like it's an interesting turn here, because it's kind of like one of those where does it go type songs, and I think this is the right spot for it.
But it probably isn't any other spot. It has to be like middle after, and you have to follow it up with something that the crowd's going to react to.
Right. But what's really strange here is you get a cool down before Even Flow, which is pretty typical, but this is like, Unemployable to me is not really it's not like a rocker, right? Jeremy, depending on who you are,
it's a transitional song.
Right. And for me, Jeremy's not really a rocker. The next three are not rockers. This is almost like another mini cool down. There's nothing that's like show stopping really in this section. Not that they're not good, because they're great.
I don't know. I think Jeremy is kind of show stopping.
It's a great performance, but
the crowd gets a moment in
it. Oh
yeah.
Yeah. The crowd's loving it.
Especially at the end. It feels like Matt kicks into like a third gear at the end, and it moves faster as the song goes on. You can audibly hear the drums push the pace on, and it's very good.
It speeds up, but after Unemployable and You Are, and then what comes next, the three songs after it, I think it's strange. This isn't. It's not like it's not being followed up by like Rearview Mirror and Why Go songs like that.
Let's put it this way. Let's look at where they are, and look at Hawaii being more of a relaxing kind of place, a positive attitude. A lot of these songs are very positive.
Oh no, I love it. I just think it's curious that they're really pacing themselves here. They're like kind of taking their time almost. I just thought this whole post Even Flow grouping was strange and very interesting.
Well, the thing that interests me comes up next, and that's utilizing Wasted Reprise in front of a song that's not Life Wasted, Better Man, or Porch. Because I don't think, maybe one time I saw it in front of Man of the Hour, but I don't think I've ever seen it in front of anything else besides those. So you get Reprise, and there's no outside of just Ed thanking the crowd for singing along on Jeremy, he doesn't take this moment to make it a platform like he's done in the past. When you think like the Hartford 2013 show where he spent that whole entire time talking about the Newtown victims. That doesn't happen. It's just like, I faced a life wasted and I'm never going back again. Let's go right into Elderly Woman. Like that was a little surprising, and I kind of liked it because it was different. And the thing I really liked about Elderly Woman, I don't know if you were able to hear, but the crowd does this little clapping section, and it's like a 2-clap, like offbeat almost, and it sounds really good. It kind of dies off a little bit. It's only in the first verse, but man, that could have become something. Like, that could have become something more powerful if more people caught on to that.
To light your name, all lifetimes they're catching on with me. All these changes taking place, I wish I'd seen the place, but no one's ever taken me.
Yeah, I thought I heard something like that too. I'm glad you brought that up. I don't really remember it though, but I remember it being there. I'm gonna have to re-listen to that because you might be onto something there. But I'm almost a little upset that he did a little talking in between Jeremy and Wasted, because I think Jeremy into Wasted into Elderly seamlessly would have been awesome, because
There's probably look, they got to switch to acoustic there.
Well,
there's a change that they got to make.
I think you got plenty of time. Jeff
Right,
gives
it's
you
just
about 30 seconds after on Jeremy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about how that bass outro would work with Into Wasted Reprise. That could be interesting.
Yeah, and it was like literally like 2 seconds of a break, and then they went into. I thought it was great. I loved all of it.
All right, let's. So this is pretty important coming up here, Ed. This feels like a very special moment for not just the crowd, but the band. Like, you can tell that Ed is very serious about this, and he wants to do something just special for the location that they're in, and you can tell it's special to him. You can see Boom during this, and it feels like it's special to Boom as well. The song is called Hawaii 78, and this became a Christmas single, I believe, in 2007. So, this got circulated around. Hawaii 78 is a song written by Izzy K. We'll just say Izzy K here.
Yeah, I think that's what they call him.
And it's definitely a staple of their home state. And if you don't know who Izzy is, you've heard his version of Somewhere Over the Rainbow before, and how incredible that is. And like, you can't not cry when you hear that song. Like, it's a beautiful rendition.
Yeah, it's that and What a Wonderful World, I think, right? It's like the medley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Yep. Go seek out the story about how that was written, because it's just fantastic. And the story about how this song was written is fantastic as well. And this goes back to what we were saying before. Ed approached the guy at the bar and decided, hey, can we play this? And this is a song that's like, how every area kind of has their song. Like, if you went up to somebody in New York and said, let's play Piano Man, like, okay, that's kind of a New York song. I don't know what it would be for Atlanta. Probably like Shiny Happy People.
You got New York
or
State of
something.
Mind. We've got Georgia on my mind. We've
Yeah.
got It's Your Sweet Home Alabama. You've got these.
You missed my joke.
These different places have this song.
I heard it, Randy.
Okay, thank you.
How would they feel with a smile, be content rather than crying? Cry for the gods, cry for the people, cry for the land that was taken away, and in it you'll find Hawaii.
guys think of this? Like, this was a really powerful moment, and before going into this, I really knew next to nothing about the song outside of maybe 1 or 2 times that I listened to it just because it was something different. But this is pretty special here.
I think it sounds great. I just don't think I would put it as a first set song, but logistically it makes sense because Eddie and Stone. Eddie has had his guitar out for a few songs. Stone has had his acoustic out for a few songs and needs it for the next song. So I get that. That makes a lot of sense. I don't know if I might have started off the first encore with it maybe, but I'm not going to really complain about it because it sounds really good.
Yeah, he just comes on and says, "Oh, this is a bit of a prayer." And I think with the spacing, I think they're trying to space out the Boom moments and give him some love throughout the show. Not you don't want to push that all together. Give it, make it throughout the whole thing. So yeah, really, really good. Liked it.
And it's also a good transition into Better Man as well because you kind of play off of that and Boom can kind of come in. Yep. And look. I feel like Better Man is definitely a highlight from this show because Ed lets the crowd take the first chorus and he's so impressed by it that he remarks, "This is like a church." And just, Matt, I know that you love versions of this song that don't have the save it for later tag, correct, that just keep going and they kind of start feeling something and they just kind of, they play it towards the moment. And this was exactly that. This was really tight. It built and built and built to that extra level of intensity and just sounded perfect. And it was a great showstopper to get you into one more song before finishing off.
Yeah, 100%. Did you notice the na-na-nas in Better Man?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he does them in Better Man. You go back and listen. So we got him in the show, just in a different song. There's something about seeing Jeff, Stone, and Mike all on Mike's side during a Better Man, during the end after the last chorus. It's you could feel like that enthusiasm on stage. They'll do it here and there. I know Stone and Jeff will get together, or
I felt like they did it a lot on this night.
They did. They did. But this Better Man was a perfect example of where they're the three of them are together, and Stone gets so into it. He did what he did. I believe it was Fenway Night 2 in 2018. He forgets that he has to sing the "Can't Find a Better Man" at the end of it, and has to run over to Jeff's mic and look up into the sky and sing it on there. So I'm watching it and I'm like, oh, you could barely hear Stone, and I look close and it's because Stone did what he did at Fenway and wasn't paying attention, missed his cue, had to go to Jeff's mic. I like stuff like that because he's jamming on the acoustic. They're all together.
You get lost in the moment.
Get lost in the moment. You've been playing. Probably played the song more than any song ever, but that says something. That means you're really in it at the time. Give me a Mike solo at the end of Better Man over a tag every day of the week and twice on Sunday. I'll take that.
The mood of the show is so lighthearted and so fun. It just seems Better Man's a song where you can tell that they just love playing it. Like you mentioned,
exactly.
You get those moments when the three of them kind of get together, the two of them get together. You can just see the joy. Like they're just having fun. And, this is the end of the tour. They made it through. They know they're going to have time off. They're going to get to hang out in Hawaii for a week before they have to play again. The mood of the show is just great. And I think I was going to mention at the end, but if you go back to the PJ20 book, Ed even mentions about this show. He goes, oh yeah, that was one of the better ones. Like he remembers this as being a really good show. So the mood's great. It's lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
There's no angst. There's no tense moments in the show. It's just really fun. And that really shows in the video and the bootleg. It comes off sounding really good.
Yeah, 100%.
We're closing off with Porch here. Ed picks up, drops the guitar for the bluesy intro. Bridge gets really jammy. Love what Matt's doing here. He's kind of building back into the song where Ed sings along back and forth with the crowd and kind of leads to a very explosive ending. Jeff is spinning around in circles and Stone is jamming with Matt. A very good set ender here. And really kind of feeding off the momentum that Better Man brought to this. And I think that in the encore, they'll continue to play off it.
The one thing that I had about this, because it was pretty like it was a pretty straightforward Porch, really. I mean for live standards and for a set closer, it's off the walls. It's fantastic. But what I really liked was when the solo comes in, when Mike comes in with the solo. At this point, he's like ready to solo, and he doesn't hold a few measures and let it build up. He comes right in with the solo, like immediately. And it's so good. He was like, "No, I'm loose. I'm ready to play this."
Yeah, the call and response is really good. Again, you're involving the crowd. Kind of building off the momentum you got from Hawaii 78 and Better Man, and it just builds up to a really nice finish here.
Yeah.
All right, we did it. We got to the first encore. So let's pause for station identification and talk a little bit about what we're doing on Patreon. So. Probably by the time that you listen to this show, we would have recorded 2 brand new things, maybe even 3 brand new things for Patreon, including a full show from 1991. We've been promising that we were going to do a couple of those. And we've been promising this Evolution, baby, on present tense. That one I was very excited to start working and doing the research for. Great song, obviously, and it's kind of had this boost in 2020 that more people outside of the Pearl Jam universe have paid attention to it. So it's a good time to get it in and really kind of dig into why this song is so important in their catalog. And I think we're going to get into a lot of discussions on just where it stands and how important it really is when it does come up in setlist. So that stuff is going to be on Patreon.
We got a lot of really good suggestions from listeners too. You put that
Absolutely.
out the other day. We got a lot of really good ones. Yeah, that we're gonna have a lot to talk about on that one.
Absolutely, John. Tell people how they can sign up to Patreon and what they can get for doing so.
Yeah, Patreon's a way to support the show. You can go to patreon.com/live-on-4legs. That's the number 4. Or you can download the Patreon app and search for Live on 4 Legs that way. We have 3 different tiers. If you like to support the show by giving $1 a month, you get access to all the bonus content we do, like these Evolution episodes, the Bridge School series that we're doing. We're going to have another one of those coming out this month. The setlist drafts, the Devo episodes that we've been doing, all the bonus content, all that extra audio is there for you. If you donate $5 a month, that's the Gigaleg tier. You'll get a chance to suggest a show for us to cover. Maybe there's an underappreciated show that you went to and you'd really like for us to talk about it. Or there's a classic show that we haven't talked about that you'd like to hear. That tier's for you. You get to come on the show and talk about it. And then we have the Horizon tier for $10 a month. Those are the people that are helping out supporting the Concertpedia website project that we're working on, kind of continuing on the legacy from 2 Feet Thick and 5 Horizons. And you'll get your own profile episode. We've done a few of those. They've all been really good. We had the one with Deb a couple weeks ago that was excellent if people haven't checked that out. And, you'll get credit for being kind of an executive producer on the website. So all that's there for you, patreon.com/live-on-4legs or on the Patreon app. And I think we have a couple of new patrons this week.
We sure do. Let's thank him. Let's thank Michael Fisher for joining up. Thank you, Michael. And I'm going to pronounce this correctly. I'm going to try with all my hockey knowledge. And I know that this is a Finnish name because I recognize the first name. Jussi Ursio. I believe that's how you say it. If I'm wrong,
think you got it.
Yeah, if I'm wrong, decapitate me and throw me in the river. But I think I got it because there's a couple hockey players that I know that have that first name. I haven't heard the last name before, but I know that pronunciation, and I think I got it. Whatever it is, we thank you guys. That's awesome. We are now
Absolutely.
at
Thank you guys
87 patrons. We're at 87 patrons, and that gets us that much closer to the party that I've been promising. That's 13 people. So if you want to be one of those 13 and then join the party with us, and we're going to be doing some fun things. Matt, I'm sure the band will be invited back for brand new songs, and
I guess
I could convince them.
they had fun, man. It seemed like everybody, your whole crew had some fun.
My guitar player got good and drunk. I did too.
So, hey, look, that's what it's all about. We take pride in sort of bringing the community together, and obviously during this time period where, it seems like there is a light at the end of the tunnel here, and we're kind of getting some sense of normalcy in the future, but, still not there yet. Still have to take necessary precautions, but we want to celebrate and kind of appreciate you guys as much as possible, and if throwing a party is the way to do it, shit, we're gonna do that. So thank you guys once again, and let's head back into the rock here. Inside Job opens up Encore 1, and this is a throwback to a couple weeks ago where we did the Columbia show. Right away, no talking, they come right back on stage, and all you hear that kind of riff, that intro, that kind of haunting melody that comes in, and then everybody kind of gets their section. I think we talked about that at the last show, where everybody individually has their pieces in this song that kind of gradually come in, and just incredible. Like, I don't think there's a bad version of Inside Job. This was fantastic.
Yeah, both of these were great. I liked that they came right in. I liked that it was a full band. Inside Job really felt like it could have come out of Porch seamlessly if there was no break there. Like if they hadn't taken the encore break and gone off stage, if it was like Porch in the Inside Job, there's a groove that they got going on. There's some weird placements, weird things here, but I did like, I was watching it on YouTube and Porch ended, and I just did like the quick scan to when they started Inside Job, and I'm like, yeah, that works. That sounds great.
I'll even say that we get the little acoustic set now where you got to give the band a break, and Ed's going to come out and play a solo couple of songs. But this might be my favorite way to open an Encore 1 with Inside Job. I love this.
Just rip into it, and then afterwards you can address the crowd right after. You have to bring them back with a little bit of energy and such positivity that radiates from that song. Like, it's perfect to get you back into it after, like, Better Man and Porch, those two songs back to back. They're gonna wipe you out, like, especially that crowd that is there for the hits, there for the big songs. Come back, Inside Job, that's one that if you're not paying attention, it could sneak up on you and be like, oh shit, that was amazing. And that's exactly what it does right here. And this allows Ed to kind of go on a little bit of a ramble, drunken ramble, so to speak. And he doesn't remember what secret spot he wrote it in, but he wrote it while eating a veggie burger. I believe he's talking about Mike writing Inside Job, and is something about eating a veggie burger on Duke's Outrigger in Waikiki, and makes a joke about that, and then proceeds to make, as he's trying to explain that Man of the Hour was written for a Tim Burton film, he was trying to explain that he says David Wells, and he's trying to explain who David Wells is, and that David Wells was not the person that he was supposed to be talking about. So this went on for a little bit, and you can hear he's like, oh, David Wells was on the Red Sox, he was on the Padres, he was on the Yankees.
Mike has to come over and tell him that's not his name.
Right, it's Mike Wells, right. So and you do hear some members of the crowd, probably your Canadian fans there. I wonder if one of them was Jason. I know he was at the show from All Encompassing Trip. I know he was there, and maybe he was doing the Blue Jay chants. Like, people wanted him to mention Blue Jays, and it didn't come up. But so that transitions you into Man of the Hour, and it's an electric performance. There's no acoustic on this, which I feel like the last handful of times, and with Bridge School shows and other things that we've seen this on, we've done a lot of acoustic versions, and the electric version kind of hits you a little bit better. It kind of has a positive edge to it, and really coming off of Inside Job, they're again playing off that momentum.
Yeah, way better. I like this way better than the recording. For me, it's a live song, and it's paired well. It's a great little Encore 1 kickoff moment here. Big fan.
And yeah, this is such a good moment. Like, I'll go back to Inside Job too. This little 1-2 thing where it could still be such a cool, iconic moment for them to start off an encore with Inside Job, and then you can come in and have like the kind of softer moment, your Man of the Hours, your Footsteps, your Just Breathe, things like that. I would love for them to still pull this out on this next tour.
I'm really feeling that idea too, especially with the song like Inside Job. Maybe a song like Retrograde could possibly do that. Like there's a lot of ways to go. Absolutely, I'm here for this.
I would take those two back to back too, actually.
Why the hell not? For sure. I want to hear everything at this point. But all right, contentious song. Obviously, with Matt being on the show, this song is going to be contentious. But I don't know. This has been a while since we've talked about this kind of version of Last Kiss. I know that at MSG 2008, the show that we went to, this I don't know if I'd call it an alternate version, but I call this the Cabana version of Last Kiss, where like it sounds like they're playing at a beach club somewhere, and like, you know, almost like a cover band is doing Last Kiss.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And listen, it's Last Kiss. I thought they played it well here, but yeah, you're right. It's kind of like
like a tiki, like they're at a tiki bar.
It's got a vibe.
The daytime entertainment on, you know, vacation Wednesday afternoon.
It's got a bit of a swing to it. Maybe that's what makes it sound a little better. I thought Eddie sang the shit out of it. I thought it was quite a good performance for whatever kind of a throwaway song here. But yeah, I think everything they were doing with it kind of made it a little better, a little bit more listenable. You know.
Yeah, and again, it fits the tone of the show. It's fun, it's bouncy, they're in a great mood, the crowd's eating it up, so yeah, why not?
All right, let's look, you get one song that you hate, Matt, and then you get one song that you love back to back, and this right here, like, give Boom his moment. Give Boom his moment to shine.
We knew this was coming.
Absolutely. Crazy Mary. You have to play, if you're going to do a show in Hawaii and do a Boom tribute show, basically, Crazy Mary's the one. And I love the small change to the lyric, but underneath this roof congregated quite a crowd. And, you know, just little bits and pieces that kind of change sometimes is a nice little refresher. But let's duel on this. I hate to say this because, like, this was a wonderful, wonderful duel, but I can't. The Hometown Boy is amazing in this, but Mike was fucking killer. Mike was just so good in this.
Boom.
I know. Well, Boom I know, and it is a Boom appreciation show. That's the first time you've ever said that.
For the only time, I think Boom wins. I'll give him this one.
Is it just because they're in Hawaii?
He was feeling it. Everybody's around him, gathered around the organ, like we talked about before. You get these moments where everybody's around.
Yeah.
I love this. I give this one to Boom. TKO.
Crazy Mary for me, no matter what Mike will do, because it's Boom on Crazy Mary. So
right, Mike is at least he's had like 9 other moments to shine at this show.
And not only that, but he'll have like he'll have like 6 more probably.
Right. Yeah. I lit up when Mike rips into, I think, that last little solo he did. I just lit up. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, and of course, I'm not saying Mike didn't do a great job. It's just, and John, thank you for reminding me. Yeah, they crowd around him, which also made me remember. I think this was the song also where Boom's face when he's soloing is like, it's almost like he can't like contain it, or like
he's having a moment for sure.
He's like seizing almost. It's just with what he's doing, and watching him with his eyes closed and like he's just going redder and redder and redder, and he's not stopping. He's speeding up, and you see Stone and Jeff kind of doing like their bop around the around his stand. That's what the song is made for right there.
And the crowd takes the LOITRING. They take that Mary rising up above it all. This is one of the best Crazy Marys. I love it.
Yeah, it's a really good
great.
one.
Yeah. All right. So I was wrong, and I will take defeat on that. And I just really liked what Mike did. But yes, you're right. I think Boom does have to win this because this is Boom Appreciation Night, and I fucked it up. I made the statement and I fucked it up.
No, I mean, Mike was fantastic. It's just like.
Right,
you gotta every time.
Mike was trying to keep up. I think he was surprised by Boom. I think that you mentioned that last little solo he does. He's like, okay, I gotta step up a little bit.
Right, yeah. And this all and Matt, what you were saying before, just about how Boom is kind of feeling the moment. In my mind, I'm thinking to myself, and this all makes sense the way that Ed is about to explain everything. But he's just an island kid, He's a kid from the islands, and I think they mentioned one of the MSG shows that I went to. Like Boom walked around New York City, and all he was doing was just looking up at the buildings, like still amazed, and I'm sure he sees himself as that, and this is just a touching moment right here, and probably one of my favorite moments from the show. Ed mentions Boom and says he knows some really good people.
We got to hold him because first Stone starts to play black.
He does start to play
and then
black.
Ed runs over and goes, no, we gotta let Boom talk.
Right. Yeah, Stone got ahead of himself a little bit, but you're right. So he says, some really good people, some tremendous young people called the Hui Malalama Okikai. I came really close. If I didn't, I don't think I butchered that.
Well done.
And it's an after-school program that Boom assisted on, and I think they assisted with the ticket money for that night, and there were a lot of kids that were involved that went, and Ed kind of looks over to their section, tells them anything is possible, and then for the first time and maybe the last time that I can remember, we hear the big man talk.
Boom Gaspar right here.
How's it? I'd like to say thank you for all of you for coming. Giving some money to the kids, my kids from my hometown. Thank you so much. I love Hawaii. I always will. Aloha.
It's so special for him to get that because, again, like I was saying before, you get some promotional posters of Pearl Jam and he's not even on the picture. And I always think he deserves to be, but it's great. I don't know if any other band would do that for their sixth member like that.
They're appreciative. He brings a lot to the table, even though you might not see him as much, or as much as you might want to. I don't think you realize just what he has done for songs and and albums, and how different some of this stuff could be, like we were talking about before. So, yeah, give him what he's due, and and if he wants it, he'll take it, and if he wants to lay back, he'll lay back. He's
Again,
Boom.
so humble about
Exactly. He's like, hey, whatever.
And we've been doing the Seattle series, and those are so much fun because it's a hometown show, and it's always special when we talk about like a Missoula show, and that Jeff is going to have a moment. You do like a Chicago or a San Diego show, and that Ed's going to have a moment. This is just like that. They're giving Boom a moment, and it's just elevating the show. They're just it just brings everything up to, like we mentioned, the tone of the show. I'm gonna go back to it over and over again. They're just having so much fun. It's the end of the tour. They're all so excited to give Boom a moment, and it's great. Wonderful.
Absolutely. And that all cultivates in such a great version of Black. Not like there's ever really a bad version of Black, especially when you get into the later editions of the song. This just, like, I've been saying it for the last couple of 90s shows that we've been doing, that Black just kind of has this part where it just ends and you get a little solo, maybe you get a We Belong Together for a line or two, but this is around the point, maybe it was even earlier than this, maybe it was in 03, that extension comes in and you get more of it, and you get Mike kind of playing around after this solo, and you get kind of Ed doing a little bit more with the We Belong Together, and it just has this nice and smooth finish to it. I can't not mention this, but holding out the B for so long, and I fucking hope you'll be a star. Like, this is, they're playing to some really great energy here. This was fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Black fan, but I thought this was great too.
I'm sorry, what?
No, oh yeah, you didn't know that? No, it's okay.
That's like the time you told me that you didn't really like Long Road, and I almost quit the show.
I still don't like Long Road.
But I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just assumed that Long Road is pretty much beloved by everybody.
No, not a Long Road guy.
But of course you have your freaking weird taste.
Yeah, Black. This is good. I'll say when they perform it well, they definitely performed it well. But yeah, I didn't really think that this was like necessarily a moment maker. Because there's so many of them to compare to that are just like, absolute showstoppers. This one had the elements of making it a great moment, but I'm not sure if it was like in the upper class of Blacks, but it sounded really good. I mean, they were dead on with it. Crowd was into it. It was a great performance.
Yeah, just like with Betterman and Porch, they're kind of riding that high off Hawaii 78. I think the whole band was kind of riding the high off of Crazy Mary and that moment. So yeah, kind of a really good kind of elevated performance. And yeah, it might not be up there with kind of the angsty, like soul searching, like Mike's not going to his amp, it's like grinding the guitar on it and causing all the feedback, and it's not a 10-minute version, but still a really good moment. And when is Black never great? Never. So it just kind of suffers from having to follow Crazy Mary, and that being such a big moment for Boom and a big moment in this show. But yeah, Black and Alive right here, like you're getting the crowd right back into it.
Absolutely, yeah. Ed mentions here he does talk a lot at this show, and it's kind of, I feel like when he does this near the end of the tour, it's just his last chance to make a connection. And they're going to play in a week. They're going to open up for U2, and I think they played like 17 songs or something like that. But I don't know how much they actually connect at that show, but it's not anywhere close to as much as this. And he stops to address the audience before going into Alive and mentions the many active military members that are in the crowd. 438 I believe was the number. And then Ed does a "We're Not Worthy" bow, and mentions we've been critical of the whole thing, but we were never critical of the people whose pledge was taken. A lot of what we were concerned with was with you in mind, and that was a good take to get you into Alive. Great version of Alive here. And I noticed that there's kind of like this 10 era style delay effect on Mike's guitar. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but that kind of perked out to me.
I really wasn't paying attention to Mike, only because I was afraid it was following Black, and I thought, are these going to be two performances where it's just kind of like they're good, but it's a little bit par for the course. It's the last show, it's a last show of the tour type of set, and do they have to just get these in there? And then Boom is letting loose at the end of it, and I'm like,
yes,
oh my God, Boom, like shredding at the end of Alive is everything I didn't know that I needed, and was just unbelievable. I loved it.
And you got to think 2006 too is the year that the curse was broken. So this is the year that Alive kind of became fun, and it kind of became that, party bread and butter song where you're going around, you're interacting with the crowd, and he's going off and doing everything. So, yeah, this is great. It like I said, just fits in with the tone. Just a fun version. You could tell they were having fun playing it.
I liked Jeff's baggy capri pants. They looked like I was like I gotta get a pair of those, man. I was like, those look so comfortable to play in.
For surfing, those are surfing pants.
My surfing pants, yeah.
I think it's interesting. Alive is here to end the first encore because there is a song that you don't ever get that's in the Alive spot when we're heading into the encore 2 just now, but hold on to that thought because we'll get there in just a second. As they come out for the second encore, Ed comes out with a uke, says we're on the home stretch, and you might hear it one more time after this, but we thank you very much for all the support. He motions to Ricky Ramone that he left his composition book backstage, and that's his chance to thank Ricky and the rest of the crew for helping them day in, day out for a rigorous tour. And they're always so appreciative of what their crew, aka their family, has done for them, and just a good moment and good tribute to all of them. It says we won't play these songs for a while, so stay happy until we see you again. I'm gonna attempt to play a ukulele song that I've never played before, and we get a song that ended up on Ed's ukulele song record, You're True.
Lonely cliffs and waterfalls. If no one sees me, I'm not here at all. You could be the one to liberate me from the sun, so please give the moon to me. I'd be indebted to ya, walk the dog and parent to ya. If you say the word, I'm yours. I'm sure nothing ever goes my way.
So this is an OTOTO for Pearl Jam shows, Pearl Jam wise. It's the only time he would play this ukulele track, and if they're gonna bust out something ukulele, maybe he busts out for Sleeping by Myself, because you can involve everybody. I think they've done Rise once or twice, and if I'm not mistaken, maybe they've done Can't Keep on ukulele as a full band. Maybe it has come out in an encore.
Yeah,
but
he definitely did You're True. He did it, March 15th, 2002 at All Tomorrow's Parties. So, yeah.
So, yeah, this album, the ukulele album wouldn't come out for another 4 or 5 years at this point. Just feelings on the album, guys. It's not my favorite thing. I think Ed is a great songwriter, but I've never, outside of a couple renditions of his songs, I've never really gotten into it.
Yeah, this has nothing to do with Eddie or him doing his little solo things on stage. I fucking hate the ukulele. All right, I'm just gonna say it. I don't like the ukulele. Okay, and
just the sound of the instrument.
Yeah, I never liked it. And this coming up in the set, it's kind of they're in Hawaii. Like, let me do a uke song. It's kind of fun, and it could have been kind of fun. I thought
the relation to Hawaii, that's right on point.
Right,
ukulele and Hawaii are hand in hand.
The only problem with this is I thought the time for this had come and gone. I didn't like it in this spot, and I thought it was pitchy, just not a great performance. So maybe he was just kind of going out there to fuck around, which I do appreciate. That's kind of fun, and that's fun for the crowd too. But Randy, I was never into these kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Like souvenir moments almost, where it's
Souvenir
it's
moments.
like it's not like you're
That's a new
it's not
one.
like you're hunting or collecting these things. It's like, can I return this?
You're getting an unreleased song.
Yeah.
I mean, these people don't know that there's going to be a solo ukulele record in 5 years.
Yeah, but
I actually think it's cool. Like some of those songs he did back in 2002, like Goodbyes, Satellite, Broken Heart. He was doing this one, Longing to Belong. It would have been cool if some of those songs had been able to been worked in on Riot Act in some sort of fashion. Like I think the back half of Riot Act could have been made better with one or two of those songs. I think it would have been interesting if they'd been able to work it into a Pearl Jam record. I love this. Give me an unreleased song any day, anytime.
All right, so Jeff has a birthday cake in hand and says it's for Matt Cameron, whose birthday, I believe, was on the 30th or the 28th. I can't remember when his birthday was. It's definitely at the end of November. And Ed mentions, it's his birthday and all he got was his haircut. So they sing happy birthday. Ed, does the Michael Scott embellishment of the happy birthday. They blow out the candles and a little cake smushy in the face. And then Ed chucks the entire cake into the crowd. Wow, that's that was a lot.
Someone got a surprise at the show.
One specific person. So, according to Ed, the cake landed on one girl, just her. And what happens in this back and forth exchange is kind of tough. Like they're going back, and I'm not sure. There's just a lot of madness going on, but it feels like Ed lifts up his shirt at one point to show his nipples. I don't know why he did that.
I think it looked like people were going to throw cake back at him. I think, like he had his mouth open. He was kind of making a target, like, "Hey, throw it back."
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. But the girl was compensated. She went home with McCready's clothes. That's what Ed said. So that's pretty hilarious. A good moment for her. And then we get into Smile, which, speaking of birthdays, last week we celebrated a birthday for Jeff Ament. He turned 58, so it's appropriate that we get this here. And it's funny because right before the birthday cake came out, Ed was mentioning Stone on bass, so you get sidetracked a little bit, and at first you're like, wait, did he just say Stone's on bass? Like, and you kind of forget where they were going with that. But hey, Smile's here. Great appreciation. It's a great spot for it. Obviously, it's right in the second encore. It gets you into Why Go, another Jeff-friendly song. Ed asking the question before, why would you like to go home? And very two Jeff songs right here. Very bass heavy on Why Go. Everybody running around the stage, just soaking in the moment on their go home show. Like two pretty cool moments here.
Yeah, Smile. Now that's something I'll never have anything bad to say about. They could play that in a drunken stupor, and I would still be like, yeah, that's fine.
They sometimes do,
and sometimes they do. Yeah, and super fitting for the night, super fitting for the show. And Why Go? This is where I like it. I always said animal early, why go late? And that's what they did here, and it's perfect.
Back to Why Go, give Mike some credit. You mentioned Mike was going to have a bunch of moments later in the show. He definitely has one here. A fantastic solo in Why Go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's setting you up for kind of the big go home section. And this is interesting. I kind of teed this up before that there would be two avocado songs near the early part of the set, two avocado songs in the late part of the set. This to me feels like they're goodbye to the record. Like, let's put these songs in a spot where let's appreciate them. Let's kind of give them their due.
More like their good riddance.
Their retirement. Yeah, whatever it is. Big Wave, Life Wasted, dedicated to the surfers. I enjoyed the performance of Big Wave. Like, I thought that this was fun. It had been a while since we had covered a version of this, so I know that the last time that you were on the show, we specifically had you on to do this song, Mac, for obvious reasons, but you had said that you were kind of down on it because you didn't really enjoy the Hartford 2008 performance. But where did this one put you at?
This one put me back up. Yeah, the other performance I was not a huge fan of. That was more for fun. Perfect spot. It's a good quick rocker to kind of end the night with. But Eddie's like already having trouble with it a little bit. You know, his screams are a little.
They've played it 20 times at that point. He can,
and not only
at the end of a night where he's been drinking a lot and a lot is just
Randy
going on.
Randy, you know,
I don't think he's worrying about perfect performances of Big Wave. I know that
you
that's
have to
very high on your mantle here.
Randy, hold on, you got to let me finish. We all can't gush all the time. You have to let me explain here, because they're they do sometimes have some missteps. It is because it's at the very end. This is in his upper register. It's the best spot for it, but not both.
Is it?
Yeah, definitely.
I think in a situation like this in Hawaii where it's a dedication to...
Oh, no, I'm sorry. Best spot for location-wise, too.
Okay. Yeah.
But vocally, he's got to do it like number 4 to be able to sing it. You know, I don't think we're
vocally,
ever
I
going to
don't
see this
think
again.
I just don't think Big Wave.
I don't think he could. I just don't think he could sing it anymore. Because the screams here are not as good as some of the other screams that he's been doing for a long time. And
he's got Life Wasted with some
surprised.
Screams and Rockin' in the Free World with some Screams. So he's it's late
Yeah,
in the
well,
show. This is a long
register,
show. It's
though,
almost 3
you know,
hours.
I know, but songs are in different keys, and this is a much higher key, and he's not quite there. That's why I don't think we're ever going to see the song again, and I got to kind of live with that. But the music and almost him kind of not giving a shit about it and kind of cracking and not really getting there and running out of breath makes it good, makes it fun. It's just like, take it for what it is. It's the avocado song that they never want to talk about. Even though Mike did say on that Ask Me Anything that he would love to do it again, we're not going to get it again.
I think the last time they did it was in Ottawa in 2016. So you never know.
Oh, I thought it was
especially if they go to Australia. Big waves in Australia.
Oh well, that's possible.
Where are the waves in Ottawa?
At the end of the video, though, for this song, I like how this is where Mike jumped down off the stage to solo, and I'm like, yeah, I think Mike loves this song, And then after he gets done soloing with it, and they go up into that outro, he just kind of like collapses and like lets his arms go, kind of like, all right, you got me, Hawaii. Like that was his send off. I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, I kind of enjoy the fact that the avocado songs get their time in the spotlight. They're basically in the bread and butter section here. Life Wasted is taking the place of Alive out of all things. Mm-hmm. But Life Wasted is very weird because also like you get, out of all the times that they had played the song on tour, Ed misses the lyrics in this, and maybe it's just again in the mindset of fucking just wasted and just going off of energy and momentum, and you just kind of forget it. But Matt's kind of like, fuck it, get into the bridge and just move along with it. I thought that was kind of funny that he took over on that. But yeah, nice little change up. The song was played 59 times that year, probably all as like the number 2 or number 3 song, maybe closing a set every now and again. It's something different, and they played it about like 60 more times since then, 50 or 60 more times since then. So it pops back up, but it's not gonna be earth shattering after this. So
and you'll get it in an encore too once in a while.
Yeah.
Just like a Comatose or something like that.
Yeah. All right here, something to be said about every show, playing like it's your last, and since this is our last, it feels like you've earned this one. Thanks the crowd again, and invites Kings of Leon, a very young Kings of Leon. And it's kind of funny. I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago that, sometimes things just fall into our lap and things that are current and relevant. Kings of Leon being the first band to ever release their album on non-fungible token. So they're, in the news right now, and it's just kind of funny to see where they were in 2006 and how young they were. And then, 3 or 4 years later, they exploded and became kind of like a pop rock band with the Sex on Fire and Use Somebody. Those got popular big really fast. So they come on stage, and one of the guys has an acoustic guitar playing with it, and it kind of in a way reminded me of the Slater Kinney coming out to play Rockin' in the Free World. Just a big party atmosphere feel. Just everybody knows that this is it. This is the end. This is where we're ending it. Let's just go out and have a ball. Let's have a blast with it. Stone is playing himself into a seizure and is doing playing on the ground and freaking out.
Young over there.
Yeah, right. I think we talked about that with Mike last week, but that was 1993. Yeah, this is just Ed doing the introductions in the middle of the song, and then Stone getting his dirty solo at the end of this, and this party atmosphere. Can't complain about this at all. It's part of the bread and butter, and we're gonna get into something real special in just a second. But you guys agree or disagree?
Yeah, the bread and butter. Great way to end it.
I think we got to talk about Stone. We haven't talked about Stone since he got laid at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, it's fair.
Well, first off, Ed tries to tee him up and says, "This is the part where Stone, we say to you, Stone, we say to you," and he's trying to tee him up to start rocking the free world. Stone's off doing whatever, not paying attention.
Right.
So they have to bring out Kings of Leon or whatever, and then you mentioned the seizure. He's in the middle of the stage, just spinning around. It's just ridiculous.
He's one of the Three Stooges.
Oh my God, what's he doing? But then, you mentioned the solo too. This solo by Stone in Rockin' in the Free World is one of the best. Goes to show he could be a great lead guitarist.
Of course he can. Absolutely. Yeah. So, all right, finishing out the show. This is a pretty important moment. This is the power to, where they were and and ending the tour and doing something a little bit different and sort of doing it off the cuff too. So, Yellow Ledbetter, of course it's going to end your night. You need the arena anthem. You need the song that is just going to send everybody home happy, but you get a little bit of the extra, and that's where the story is. So, mentioned before, this is going to be my tee up. I mentioned before that there was a show that Soundcheck is out there where they soundchecked Little Wing. Here, Mike starts playing the tag. He plays a little bit of Little Wing, and we get it a little bit, and it sounds first, okay, it sounds like he's going to tag, but then, I think there's another video of this where Ed kind of starts to go over to everybody and says, let's do it. Let's play it. Let's come in on the verse. And you hear Matt kind of warm up.
Let's break it down.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think it starts with Mike, and you see him kind of he's trying to give Matt a nod, like, hey, come in, let's start it. And I think Ed saw that and then went over to Jeff, because you see Jeff come back. And I think you're right. I think Ed saw Mike nod to Matt, even though Matt didn't see it, because he's kind of the last one who comes in and kicks in.
Right.
So yeah, I think you're right. It's an interesting breakdown of, because this is just improv. This wasn't planned. They weren't going to do Little Wing.
Nope.
So it's really cool how this all comes together, and it starts with that little head nod. I give all the credit to Mike. He kind of realized that was going to be a moment, and yeah, it's great.
classic moment because they don't do Little Wing a whole hell of a lot. They've done it 30 times, and they're considering it a tag here on Live Footsteps. I'm going to have to talk to our guy Dave. I think this is the third week in a row where, we got to have a little discussion and make some changes here. But you
guys have been running them through the rails the last couple episodes. There's always something that comes up.
He comes back. He goes back to Yellow at Better afterwards.
But it's basically the full Little Wing. That's what I'm trying to say.
So would it be a medley then?
I don't think they have medley distinctions on Live Footsteps.
It's definitely more than a snippet, though, right?
It's more than a snippet. Yeah. A snippet isn't even like the snippet is like the real short tag. That's
I think the snippet is instrumental. The tag is with vocals.
Okay.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, I fully agree with that. I'm on board with that. Yeah. But whatever this was, it's classic. It's fantastic. It's the last night of the tour, so you're getting something different. It's sporadic. And, I mean, Ed's belting out the lyrics with a cigarette in his hand while the band is jamming. Like, fucking A. Like, that's great. Just the visual of this is fantastic. And, Hawaii has not been a spot where they've returned to since. And I think this is the one from this show that a lot of people just go back to, and they're like, hey, you want to see something cool? Let's listen to Ledbetter. Let's listen to how Mike kind of gets into this and how this sort of off the cuff becomes a thing. And sounds fantastic. It's a great way to finish the show. You're right. They do reprise with Ledbetter. Mike goes up to the edge of the stage, sits on the edge, finishes it out, and it feels like just the perfect way to do that and the perfect way to just say goodbye to everybody. And it's great. Like, we've done tour closers before that have been really special, and you can't say enough. This is absolutely up there. All right, so let's get some three moments. I haven't even thought about this, but I guess I'll find a way to go first here. I am gonna kind of go chalk for just being the hometown show and what this show meant to Boom and the crowd. I'm gonna go Love Boat Captain, and I'm gonna go. I'm in between Hawaii 78 and Crazy Mary. I can go either way. I think I'm just gonna say Hawaii 78 because I'm never gonna say that again. So I'm gonna pick that. And the classic moment from this show is just what we just talked about, Ledbetter and Little Wing. That's the one from this.
Yeah, I agree. I think Little Wing is number 3. Crazy Mary's number 2, and Hawaii 78's number 1. Those are my 3.
I like that. Man, this is tough to put it in an order because I gotta throw out Love Boat Captain for sure. That's making the list. I'm gonna go Love Boat Captain. I'm gonna go Hawaii 78, and I would love to pick like the wasted elderly Hawaii like grouping is what I would like to do actually as my like 3.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, I liked that. I liked that a lot. I thought that was super interesting and super fun, especially after Even Flow. So, all right, I'm gonna have to take Love Boat Captain off, and I'm just doing that grouping. I liked that. That was nice. I liked it a lot.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into a rating of it. Matt, you can go first since we just heard your voice.
Yeah, this was really good, straightforward, great first set. Really cool things happening with placements and flow, and I think the whole thing had pretty good flow all around. Not even with songs. I think the band was just loose. They were flowing as a band, But there's nothing that's like super like unbelievable when it comes to songs. So I'm going to go 8. I think this is a solid 8. Great performances. But yes, it could read as like a last show type set where you're giving the people like really what everyone would want. So I don't want to be super picky because we're not getting like the rarest of the rares or this, crazy, unbelievable thing. So yeah, solid 8 because everything they do is great.
All right, I'll bring this thing back. I'm gonna give this a 10.
You are?
God.
Okay.
Hawaii 06, end of tour. Great moments for everyone in the band. Like so many great performances. I don't love Worldwide Suicide. I don't love Big Wave, but they can't detract from this performance. It's an all timer.
Yeah, I'm gonna split the difference. I'm gonna call this a 9. And like great show and definitely memorable show. Why do I not put this at a 10? Because I don't think of it among the classics, like the absolute top dogs. I don't think of it in the same stratosphere. Like I gave Mexico City a 10, and I was just astounded by that show. Maybe people don't put that in that category, but I do. I don't know if I would put this like directly in the top 25, in the top 50. I think it deserves to be in the conversation, but like we gave Melbourne, that's such a high ranking show, Melbourne 98. Like I can't put the two shows next to each other. Like they can be close, they can be neighbors, but I don't know if they're in the same, they're not in the same grouping to me.
I think I was with you, but going back and reading in the PJ 20 book, like I mentioned, Ed going back in and going back to say, like, yeah, that was one of the better ones. So I think that kind of bumped it up for me.
Okay. That's totally fair. You're getting it from the horse's mouth. So, yeah, absolutely.
And there's no denying that you could tell that they felt really good about it.
Yep.
You
the whole night thanking the crowd and just positivity for throughout all this. So,
yeah.
All right. Let's give a little sneak peek as to what we're doing next week. How about going back to 1994? We said earlier in the month that this was going to be a very 90s-centric month, and we're heading back to it. St. Petersburg, 1994, very popular show, great bootleg, and I believe we're going to have Gabe on. Gabe is one of our patrons, and I think we're going to have him on. He's going to do a profile episode as well, so excited for that. And yeah, like I mentioned before, you can find us on Patreon if you want to contribute to the show, patreon.com/liveon4legs. We'll have some stuff this week. We'll have a new episode on Toronto 1991 at some point. We'll have the Present Tense Evolution episode, if not by the end of this week, then probably either before the next episode or right after, and just more stuff to come. And thank you everybody for listening in. Thanks to Matt for coming back. It's always a treat to have you back.
Oh wait, I forgot to hold on. I was wearing my Big Wave shirt under my sweatshirt the whole time. I forgot to take it off though.
The gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah,
I'm wearing my In My Tree shirt, so we're matching.
Oh, you have an In My Tree shirt?
I do.
I am very jealous of that.
I need a Brain of J shirt. That's what that means.
Holy shoot!
We all have our signature songs. I'm gonna have to call up the guys at Life Wasted, make it happen.
Yeah.
So.
I think is that John? Is that where yours is from?
Yep.
Yeah.
Same.
It's super soft and does well in the wash. I'm a big fan of these guys.
Well, it is Big Wave, so you would think it would.
It
do
is
well
Big Wave,
more.
and you know it.
All right, that's where we part here and say goodbye. This may be the end. We're here, but not for much longer. And although we may be parting ways, I miss you already, and I miss you always. And hey, if you're not following us on Apple, on Spotify, follow us. They don't call it subscribe anymore. They want to make it so you're part of the community. So follow us, and you can get updates on when our episodes come out every Wednesday, by the way. And just keep up to date. And look, if you want to join us on Discord, if you want to join us on the Pearl Jam Podcast Community Facebook page, we do a lot of stuff over there. Head on over. It's a good time. We got a great community. We love you guys, and we're just going to keep doing more as much as we can. Until then, see you next week.
Whenever you're ready.
I think I'm. Hey, you couldn't even tell. They were off. What are the sound guys now? Jacks in the back broke. That's why I didn't.
that thing just kind of focus in and out?
Yeah, this thing's like way rad. It's focused right here.
Hi.
And it's a wide angle lens, so it means it's taking out more gas.
What treat that is. How wide is the angle? That's just there.
Oh, it's off.
Sorry.
Okay.